Welcome to the All the Stuff podcast, where we jam about money, clutter, and food, and the real stuff under this stuff. Join me, Lisa Carpenter, your resident food coach, along with my co-hosts, money coach Jen Turrell and clutter coach Lisa Sharp, as we help you release what's weighing you down and heal your relationship with food, money, and clutter from the inside out. Welcome to the All the Stuff podcast. My name is Lisa Carpenter, your resident food coach, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Jen Turrell and Lisa Sharp. And today we wanted to dig into the importance of prep and how it actually creates space for what you want to make happen. And the reason I kind of went off on this topic before we actually hit the record button was because I just finished doing a kind of mini rant inside my EAT group to my paid members about the importance of prep, because everybody wants, quick and easy and simple. And I understand that. However, if you're not prepared to do the prep work, you're never going to get to quick and easy and simple. It doesn't work that way. And one of the things I see around food that I try and get my people to really bust through is to stop making it such a thing. Like, your meals don't need to be these like fancy schmancy pants put together with, it's got to look pretty on the plate like Master Chef. It doesn't. You just need to eat. If you're focused on whether it's, feeling better in your body, losing weight, having more energy, it's just about getting quality food into your body. And I run a busy schedule, as do you ladies. So there's certain meals that I'll sit down and really make. They're important. My breakfast, I need some quiet time to sit and enjoy, eat slowly. And then there's other meals where I'm between clients and I'm running downstairs to grab a couple hard-boiled eggs and a bag of pre-cut veggies. And that's what I'm going with. But I don't create any drama around it. Mm-hmm. And I know for me, having food prepped and ready in the fridge makes my life so simple. But again, I keep it easy, like cooked chicken, hard-boiled eggs, smoked salmon, ground turkey, maybe some meatballs, right? And then I get my rice that's cooked and in a container, or my potatoes are cooked and in the fridge. And I literally will go in, grab different elements, mix them together, heat them up, and eat it. That's it, right? Like, people are like, don't you have a recipe? I'm like, No, I just mix it together and it tastes good. I might not want to serve it to company. It might not look pretty enough for that. So it might not be a dinner party meal, but day in and day out, as long as I have two meals that I'm really sitting down and enjoying, the rest of the day, it really just is about what do I need to eat so I'm going to feel my best and keep it simple. So I would really love to hear your guys's mini rants on what prep means to you when it comes to finance, when it means to clutter, and even how you guys navigate your food. Because I think Jen is a little bit like, I don't want to prep my food. That's so much work. Why would I do that? And I see food prep as like a foundational piece of my self-care, like brushing my teeth and combing my hair.
Yep. So when you said this, I was so happy that I had crock-potted some chicken with salsa over the weekend. I was yes, I can actually say
credit.
And my plan was to do enchiladas last night, but I ended up going to a book club meeting. So we did quick cheese crisps with the chicken in it, and it was so fast. It didn't have the rice and beans, which we probably should have done. We did pour some beans on top. My husband is a baked beans on top kind of guy. I think it's a British thing. Baked beans on anything bread-like.
Has to have beans on top.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
We all
kind of like a tostada, but it wasn't refried beans. It was baked beans on top of his cheese crisp with chicken inside. So it was like the faster version of doing all the enchiladas in the tray. That was my plan. I actually had the tray out and the tortillas all bought and everything ready to make the enchiladas. But what was it that came up after school? Oh, yeah. I ended up talking to my little sister. We needed a big talk about something that came up. So I ended up, that after school time kind of disappeared, and then my book club time came up. So it was one of those moments where something comes up. I didn't want to tell my little sister I couldn't talk right then because we needed to talk. And I didn't do the prep I meant to, but at least I had the meat prepped so we could make something out of it. And I still have more of that. I made extra chickens breasts in the crock pot. So I think that may be one of my favorite things. And you got me to hard-boiled eggs more often, though this morning I ate my last 2 eggs fried instead of hard boiling them. But so I felt very good that I could say, a lot of days if you'd caught me, I would not have been able to say I had anything prepped, but today I do.
Good for you. Yeah, if you get your proteins prepped, like that's really the part that needs to be prepped is your proteins. Everything else you can just kind of grab and go, but proteins need to be cooked in advance. And that's why there's so much resistance from women, because it's like, oh, one more thing I have to do. But when you stop making prep such a big deal, right? When you create all this resistance around it, that's when it becomes a big deal. For me, I throw on an audiobook. I throw, chicken in the
podcast.
Yeah, I throw like podcast. I throw chicken in the oven while I'm putting away my groceries. Like when the groceries come home, I'm putting stuff away and cooking at the same time.
That is a great idea.
I do
like
that
the chicken
too.
comes out of the bag and into the oven.
I do that too.
Just get it done.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
see, crock pot's been my go-to if I can plan ahead that much. Like actually today I got out I have frozen bison that I was going to throw in the crock pot with beans and have chili for tomorrow. It's always better the next day, I think, though, crock potted stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like I like to cook it. Well, maybe if it has spices, it gets spicier the next day. Like chicken.
Yeah, for sure.
So I feel really proud of. That's 2 things that I could tell you that I was ready to prep.
it's progress, Jen.
Yeah, and for your finances, though, here's the other thing, because one of the big complaints I hear from people about getting your financial life sorted out is having different things come due on different days all throughout the month and having to remember and think about it, which I don't like doing either. So what I like to do is to batch and schedule all the financial tasks possible. And it takes a little prep work. You have to sit down with all of those bills and get them into your bill pay, the ones that you can pay automatically through your bank. And I also like to schedule them to 2 times per month to pay, all of them batched then, so you know how much roughly it's going to be. I do the 5th and the 20th of the month. I also have a separate account that I pay all those bills out of. So if I know roughly how much it's going to be on the 5th and roughly how much it's going to be on the 20th, I can make sure there's plenty of money on those days in that special bill pay account that automatically pays all those bills for me. And once I do that prep work, it makes all the rest of the month so much easier. Not to say there are no financial tasks during the rest of the month, but those are the regular recurring ones you can count on. So if you get those batched and scheduled in, then anything else that comes up, you use your variable spending account. It never takes money away from the mortgage, the rent, the utilities, the car payment, all those things that are already batched and scheduled. And you can just focus on what comes up day by day.
I like that. I do schedule my bill payments now. I do go on and put them in my bank to come out, and then I write them in my book so I know when they're coming out, but they come out on their own individual days. What's the benefit of having them all come out on one day versus when they're just due, which is usually what I do, right? It's due on the 12th. I'm going to pay it on the 12th. Well,
what I feel like it helps with is if you know it's going out on the 5th and the 20th, those are the days. So if you know roughly what your mortgage, car payment, add up all of those things. If you batch them to 2 days, you know what has to be in the account for those 2 days. So like my total household nut, basically the recurring things, I know I need at least $2,500 in that bill pay account for the whole month, and that includes our mortgage. So that's what I have roughly split into. So it's, it's $1,250 roughly for each of those payment days. It's actually a little more, it's a little off-centered because of our mortgage. So the first one's a bit more. And that's what I know needs to be there on that day. I keep a buffer so that I won't run out of money. I try to keep a whole month's buffer if I can, then I never have to think about it. But if you're not quite up to buffering a whole month ahead yet, knowing, okay, on this day there has to be $1,300 in this account, and on this day there has to be $1,100. It allows you to figure out, especially if you have irregular income and are having to draw from different sources, you know what has to be in there on those days. And if you can get the buffer in there, then whatever you spend from your other account, your variable spending account, I have a Jen spend account and a Stu spend account. Even if we spend every dollar in there, we've still already paid our car payment, our mortgage, and all of our utilities. You never run into running out of money for those things. And you also don't run into getting overdrafts and late payments because the automatic payments are paid on the right day. It's all done.
Cool.
So it does take prep work. Like that first month when you do it, you have to keep an eye on it to make sure everything works the right way and nothing gets missed. If anything gets missed, you call immediately, tell them what you're doing, tell them why, and then you can sort it out. But after that, it's so much easier. So it's just like, having the food ready. You open the fridge and it's just ready. That's how I feel too. Once you have things batched and scheduled, it's like, it takes all of the decisions in the immediate moment off your plate, because you've already decided to pay your mortgage and your car payment or whatever else comes out of there.
That's right. And you nailed it, because it is like prep takes all that clutter that's going on up here that you spend thinking about. Are my bills paid? What am I going to have for lunch? Do I need to pick up my dry cleaning? It takes all of that out of your head and frees up space for you to actually enjoy your life, enjoy your day. So how do you prep, Mrs. Sharp?
Oh, you gotta know this is my wheelhouse, right?
Oh, I know. You're just sitting here. Ask me.
I am such a big believer in prep work in all things, in all areas of life, because like you said, it takes making decisions over and over and over again for things that actually don't require decisions really frees up a huge amount of mental bandwidth. Brains are not so good with short-term memory. Brains are for processing. So we're using up our bandwidth for these things that if we think about it once and implement it, then we don't really have to keep thinking about it. And it's really tiring. David Allen of Getting Things Done talks about this a lot, and I love this idea so much. It's really tiring to remember I have to go pick up my kid at such and such. What's for dinner? I need to go to the grocery store. We're out of toothpaste and cat food and, pens or something. I mean, just like all this stuff is just running through our brains all the time, and it requires a lot of thinking, and it's really unnecessary. Because if you just park that information somewhere and you actually implement, the prep work, life runs so much better. So, I'm in Lisa's program, and I've really shifted my thinking about food in terms of prep work. I've always been pretty good at that because I like food. I like the process of cooking. I'm really into cooking. Having a full pantry makes me feel more abundant than pretty much anything in life. Like if I have, a really well-stocked pantry and freezer and refrigerator that's full of really fresh, healthy stuff, I'm like, I'll take that over like fancy shoes any day. That's sort of my thing. So I put a lot of emphasis on that now. And I wasn't necessarily always stocking like really healthy food, but since I've been in Lisa's Eat program and have really worked diligently for 1.5 years on protein, like I always have cooked protein, prepped protein. So I always have, hard-boiled eggs, shredded chicken breast, usually ground, like turkey sausages, things like that are all like light protein in Lisa speak, which is things that are really lean and low fat and are really, like not processed. So like I always have that in my fridge. And if I don't, because I've been sick or something, I always have like frozen fish that I can just pull out and stick in the oven. Really, really, really simple things, and kind of getting over the whole, it has to be this big spread. So Jen and I were talking about this before, like she and I both made the same recipe basically, which is really simple. It's just salsa over chicken. And she cooked hers in her crock pot, and I cooked mine in my Instant Pot, which is a pressure cooker, an electric pressure cooker. If you don't, they are like the bomb. I am like so not a gadget person. I'm very hardcore about learn how to do the thing, learn the skill, I have really good knife skills and that sort of thing, because that's a high priority for me. So I don't have a lot of gadgets. So if I'm like selling a gadget, you gotta know that it's a pretty freaking awesome, because I don't like extra stuff in my kitchen. So this pressure cooker cooks hard-boiled eggs like a dream, Lisa, like a dream. I love this thing. I've been meaning to promo this in your group because I think it would be
you need to talk to me about Instapot. I've never heard about this.
I have never heard of this either.
It's an Instant Pot. Yeah. So, and there are different.
How long does it take to cook eggs or chicken, or I mean, is it way, way faster than obviously my crock pot's a slow cooker, so it's not fast, but tell me. Magic.
So I know this is, I swear to God, I have like no affiliation with this company. This is not like an affiliate, pitch or anything. This is just something that I started using probably about 4 months ago now, and I just use it all the time. So when I come home from going to the grocery store and I have all of my food out, I'll start chucking things in the Instant Pot, and I'll cook a batch of brown rice. Then I'll cook a batch of a dozen eggs that are hard boiled. Then I'll do like a whole tray of chicken breast with whatever season that I want to. And it's like done. It's
how fast?
So
how instant?
It's a misnomer. That's not really instant, but it is faster. And I find that the cooking quality is better. So for like hard-boiled eggs, I cook them for 6 minutes, but it has to come up to pressure first. So you put like a cup of water, and then you put a trivet, and then you put your eggs in it and set it to steam, cook it for 6 minutes. And it takes about 5 minutes for that water to boil and come up to pressure. And the level of pressure in the machine, and then you release the pressure, and then it's cooked. So hard-boiled eggs really, they're really not that much faster than if you do them stovetop, but they peel. The peel just comes right off.
Oh, so that is what I hate about hard-boiled eggs. One will peel perfectly, just so easily it slips off, and then the next one I'm like picking every little piece. That drives me crazy. I'm like, what is the difference?
And
when it works and when it doesn't.
There's something about the pressure that like makes there be more of an air pocket in it. I mean, it's not like you can't see it or anything, but you can like just sort of like lightly tap it and then basically just pull it off. It's
okay. Just for that might be worth.
Seriously? Yeah. So like
that little, sometimes you even lose some of the egg white because it's like cemented onto it.
Yeah. So they're like, they're like $120 or something, but they have them on sale on Amazon pretty regularly. So that's why I got mine. They had some sale, and it was like, I don't know, $70 or something. And I was like, worth it.
I may need you to go through my kitchen gadgets with me, because I feel like I can't bring another one in without getting rid of something.
Yes, totally.
Like my spiralizer. Lisa Carpenter, have you used a spiralizer? I started using zoodles, zucchini noodles instead.
No, you know what I use? I use a carrot grater to make just
that works.
I don't need all the fancy gadgets. Like I just need simple, quick, easy, because often the gadgets like slow us down. So even, one of my favorite tools in the kitchen is I have a baking stone. So instead of like cookie sheets that are metal, I've got a baking stone from Pampered Chef. It's technically to make like bars. It's got a lip around it, but I bake all my chicken on it. I bake all my veggies on it. And what I love about it is you don't actually wash it with soap and water. You scrape it clean and you rinse it, and that's it. So when I talk about prep, it's got to be quick and easy cleanup as well. Like that's part of it. So, if my kitchen looks like it's been taken over by Julia Child, that's not going to work for me. It's got to be quick and easy. I don't want to spend hours cleaning up. I just need to get it done so I can get on with my life.
Yeah. So, and
I'm a victim of gadgethood, I think. I think, well, this will make me eat healthier if I have this thing that will change something for me. But the truth is the spiralizer, the Vitamix we use pretty regularly, but a lot of the juicer even, once they get put back in, we want to have, in the two corners of our kitchen, we have those like Lazy Susan cupboards, that spin around. Once it gets in the back of that, it just doesn't come out that much anymore.
That's a great beyond in organizing terms. Anything that is really deep will not get used. Yeah. So the way to circumnavigate that is to always have really and truly, if you're putting it in the back, you got to know that you're going to be pulling it out maybe quarterly, probably once a year, maybe even less than that. So, which is totally fine. So if you have like Christmas decorations or something that you only use at Thanksgiving, put those stuff in the back and everything else out front. But you can also put stuff like that on trays, like cookie sheets and stuff, so you can pull the whole tray out.
Our pan drawers are all on rails, so you open the door and everything rolls out. And actually, I don't know if you can see, I'm sure you've seen this before, Lisa, this built-in cupboard thing here with the glass tops. When you open those, all of those drawers come out too. And we didn't build it in, somebody else did. But I love having things slide out to me because then I can see what's in the very back.
That's there. Exactly. And with the finance stuff, I do the same thing, and being organized financially has really saved my bacon so many times over. And my system is I have my own filing system that is roughly based off of David Allen's system. And I teach that in my blueprint. Yeah. Because it works, because it's dead simple. Mm-hmm. You don't have to explain how it works to the people that are in your house. And, and it's really obvious. And those are always the cornerstones when you are doing prep work, when you're organizing, is it has to be crazy simple. If there are multiple steps, we just won't do it. Human beings love to complicate things. We love putting all kinds of layers on things and making it be this thing, but we don't do complicated, right? We'll just be like, oh, that's too hard. Never mind. I'm gonna go check Facebook. It's we just automatically check out when it's too hard. And that's when I am organizing for people, I'll find that I'll see other systems that they have created for themselves, or maybe a loved one made for them because they thought it was a great idea, or even another professional organizer. And it's why didn't this work? And then once we start digging into it, it's because it's too complicated. There needs to be 3 choices maximum. Yeah. For pretty much everything. So it's if you're paying your bills, you pay them on one day or you pay them on 2 days, and that's just repeating in your calendar. If it's food, you're going to be eating the same proteins over and over again. You're going to alternate the variables, the sauces, the complex carbs, and the veg. So it's an endless variety, but the cornerstone of it is going to be the same. Yeah, and that's the same for any sort of organization that you do around your house. It's you have to it needs to be in 1 or 2 places. So this morning I worked with a client for 4 hours, and she has clothes. They have a really high volume of clothes. So we were dealing with her husband's stuff today, and there were 4, 5, maybe 6 different places where his clothes lived. It's hard to get dressed if you don't know where your stuff is. So today we just worked on shoring all of that up, consolidating it into one area, decluttering the stuff that he doesn't use. And so now he can get dressed in his bedroom. He was leaving his room to go get dressed. And that's true for a lot of my clients. They might have to go down to the laundry room because the clothes are down there. Or they might go to their kids' clothes because their clothes ended up in their kids' closet at one point. Or, there are all kinds of human beings are interesting, right? We do all kinds of interesting, it's temporary solution. And then we've been doing it for 5 years just because that was then the path that we had laid down, and we just continue doing that thing without much thought. Mm-hmm. So today we just worked on his clothes. We got it all consolidated, and it was just beautiful. And I said to her, we have just saved him a minimum of 5 minutes every single day of his life. Because now everything is in one area. He doesn't have to go from here to here to here to here trying to put together and he really basically wears the exact same thing. Most of us do, right? But it was so spread out. So that's a perfect example of prep work. Yes, it took us 4 hours to do it. It was a lot of time up front, but think about the stress level. His stress level will go way down because there's no second guessing. He won't have to make all of these decisions when actually he really only needs to which shirt, which pair of khakis, which shoes. It's not complicated, right? But because everything was in all these different areas, he'd have to do the, hunt and peck, hide and go seek sort of thing, getting dressed.
And decide which one to go for first.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly. And it was really confusing. And so too many variables.
I agree.
And too many variables make us stressed out. So simple. And that prep work is reducing his stress level and saving him a huge amount of time over the long run. So in any of these things that we're doing, like Jen was talking about, setting things up for, auto pay. My husband and I did that last year, and he was like, I really don't want to do that. It's going to take forever. And I was like, yeah, this is a big pain in the butt for sure. I don't really want to spend my morning doing this. But if we can spend 2 hours just knocking one account after another out, then we don't have to think about this.
That's right.
Because every year or every month it was like, did you pay this bill? Did you pay this bill? Did you pay this bill? And it was never that we didn't have to pay it. It was that we didn't know what we were supposed to be paying. There was no system. So we set up a simple system. It's the same thing with the paperwork. You set up a simple system, and then there's just one place to go find it. So I'm like clearly passionate about this. I could go on and I'll stop, but I think this is one of those self-care things that it pays such rich dividends. And this truly is about self-care. This is about taking care of your future self and saving yourself a shit ton of stress and angst and wasted time.
We're going to have to put the E expletive on this episode now. That's
you know what?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Jen.
I just wanted to jump on the clothes thing for one thing that I wanted to mention. I suddenly have a new problem now that I have a couple of video shows that I'm doing weekly. And that is I had reduced down my wardrobe to only things I liked, things that sparked joy. And I got my husband has about 4 times as many shirts as I do now. Like I really got my shirt hanging area about down to this. And I was really pleased with it, except I started being like, I'm wearing the same shirt on all of these video shows. So just today, I got my first new La Tote. I don't know. Do you guys know what La Tote is? It's one of those shopping services where they send you a box of styled clothes with some accessories. Okay. And I had stopped it a while ago because I was like, I don't want to keep buying clothes. But what I like about La Tote, what's different with them is it's wear and return. So I can wear them for a bit. It's a little more expensive than some of the others because there's a cleaning fee. Obviously, they want to dry clean the clothes in between if you send them back. But you can keep them as long as you want and wear them. Return them if you don't want to buy them. You get a discount if you buy them, especially if you buy them all. But I was like, okay, I need something a little bit different. Not that this looks that much different. It's a black sweater, and I do have black sweaters. But it's a different black sweater than I've ever worn on the show before.
It's a different black sweater.
That's what I was thinking, Jen. I was like, okay, it looks like I'm wearing the same thing. They're actually different. I just wear a lot of black.
Yeah. I was just,
nobody's going to notice anyway.
I had noticed a few times when, if I go into the playlist and if they aren't at the beginning, if they're at the beginning of the show, it shows just all the stuff thing. But then I was like, oh, I have worn the same shirt a couple times already on this. I need to switch it up some more. But then I was like, the only thing about only keeping clothes that you really love is they wear out faster and they start to pill faster. Pilling is my biggest nightmare with clothing. I hate pilling. But so anyways, I just thought I'd throw that out there. For people who are on video a lot and feel like they wear the same shirts all the time, you should try something like La Tote. I'm giving it another go.
Okay.
I'm not affiliated with them. I'm just thought I'd throw that out there for my organizing of my closet, which is not where I sleep. I'm just going to say that because the master closet is in here and we all moved upstairs, and I do keep it as my dressing room, Lisa. I know we talked about this once before.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter to me where people do the thing. It really, really doesn't. If it makes sense for them.
Everything. Like I walk in my jammies, I walk out fully closed. So.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So I have a number of clients that do the exact same thing. I really don't care. It's because the whole point of organization is how functional is your life. That bottom line. It's not about, does it look pretty? Is it correct? Is it folded just so? Is it, it's like, I don't really care about those things because that's not really about function. That's like beauty or some like arbitrary rule that somebody said sometime. So do what works for you. I know Lisa would agree with that in terms of food. Yeah.
So you brought up a really interesting point, and I want to close on this, talking about recipes and repeating things. Mm-hmm. And something I hear from clients all the time, or potential clients, right? I'm bored. I need more recipes. And I'm always like, that's such crap. Like that's so not the problem. It's so not the problem. Like, have you seen Pinterest? Like you could disappear in there for a year and never run out of ways to cook chicken. Like chicken is chicken. You can cook it a gazillion different ways. Yeah. If you're going to be a healthy eater, it's your responsibility to look for things that are always going to kind of delight your palate. However, the way that I teach that I think is so important is it's kind of like having an outfit, right? You can wear the same pair of pants with 3 different shirts, change out the scarf, change out the accessory. Yep. The same is true for your food, right? Like I talk about my infamous taco salad because I freaking love it. But literally, it's like, you get the base ingredients, which is, your broccoli slaw, your salsa, whatever flavor salsa you want. And then you choose, well, what protein do you want in it? Ground turkey, ground beef, ground chicken, maybe just regular chicken, maybe fish, right? And then you add shrimp, maybe you add in flaxseed oil one day, maybe you add in brown rice one day, maybe you make it with a different vegetable. It's still the same thing. So it's the same recipe. You're just switching things out to make it work, which means you don't have to think. You want it with beef today? Have it with beef. You want it sweeter? Grab a peach pineapple salsa. You want it spicier? Grab a spicy salsa. It doesn't matter. And that's really how I layer my meals. I take the foods that I know I like and just start mixing them together and see what happens. Because if you go down that road of I need a million recipes in order to make healthy eating work for me, you'll quit. And you're using it as an excuse. So when you are looking for recipes, specifically look for recipes where you think, oh yeah, I could totally sub out chicken here for fish, or I could totally put in eggs, or I could remove this ingredient and put in this ingredient I like. Like when you start to get creative, when you start to strip down the rules that you think there are about food, things get a lot easier when it comes to your nutrition. So don't make it complicated. Do the prep work. Don't be afraid to throw stuff in a bowl, stir it up and go. Kind of like go into your closet, find your favorite clothes, put them on, walk out the door, right? Schedule the bills, make it happen. The bottom line is if you want success in any area of your life, whether it's paying down your debt, getting your house more organized, changing your relationship with food in your body, you have to put in the time and the prep work to make it happen. It's not going to magically happen for you. So that's kind of all I have to say on this today. Do you guys have any last closing remarks?
One last closing remark. Sometimes kitchen gadgets actually damage you. Do you see these very symmetrical cuts on my two hands? If you're watching the video, you will see that my hands are cut in the exact same spot on each thumb. And this was a kitchen gadget accident.
Okay. So Jen needs to go on a kitchen gadget cleanse.
I have apple slicer, flour slicer, but it was a massive Honeycrisp, the last Honeycrisp of the season, and I was trying to cut it, and I pushed so hard that the metal broke out of the plastic, got in the middle of the apple, and cut me on either hand. So yeah, I just thought I'd throw it. You probably don't need gadgets. Just use a knife, core your own apple. Use a knife.
Great. Yeah.
We're either going to have to do like a part 2 this conversation, or I'm going to have to do a solo one because I'm like, I have so many more things to say.
To my house, Lisa Sharp.
Yeah,
actually, at Lisa Carpenter, we need to gather in the same place and do it.
Yeah. We need an all the stuff retreat.
Yeah,
we need an all the stuff retreat. So we'll just toss that out there. We'll see how many comments we get on the episode around. Yeah, I totally do that.
Yeah, if you want to come to our retreat, let us know and we'll start planning it. We need some people to say yes. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Imagine that, hanging out for a couple of days with the three of us, what you could walk away with, what your life could look like at the end of those couple of days. I think that would be fun. So we'll just toss that out to the universe because that's kind of how the podcast came together in the first place. It was inspired action. So I was just like, I think I'm going to say this thing right now. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, ladies. Thanks for joining me this morning. I always love when I look at my schedule. I'm like, it's podcast record day. And it seems like it makes work fun. It's never work. And I appreciate both of you. And I love what we're creating here. I love the feedback that we're getting. So if you love the podcast, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. That's really, really important in terms of other people finding us. And you don't want to miss any of these episodes because you never know what we're going to say. So until next time then, see you guys later. Bye.